Somewhere in Mexico, a 44-year-old Canadian is hiding behind cartel gunmen with a $15 million price tag on his head. US authorities say he's one of the most prolific cocaine dealers on the planet, a man who allegedly ordered multiple murders, including the execution of a federal witness in Medellín, Colombia.
Ryan James Wedding.
Ryan Wedding.
Ryan Wedding.
Ryan Wedding. We will find you.
His name is Ryan James Wedding, but on the streets, they call him El Jefe. And here's the twist. 23 years ago, he wasn't a cartel kingpin. He was an Olympic snowboarder, representing Team Canada at the 2002 Winter Games. This is the story of how a kid from Thunder Bay went from shredding powder in Salt Lake City to allegedly shipping tons of cocaine every year, working with the Sinaloa cartel and landing on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. Ryan Wedding was born on September 14, 1981 in Thunder Bay, Ontario, the oldest of 3 kids in a hardcore skiing family. Ryan grew up in the perfect environment to become a pro athlete. His grandparents owned Mount Baldy ski resort, his uncle ran a ski school, and his dad was an engineer and ex-competitive skier. When Ryan was about 12, his family moved west to Coquitlam, British Columbia. That's where he switched from skis to a snowboard, and everything clicked. He won the first snowboard race he ever entered, and by 15, he'd already made the Canadian national team. By the late 90s, he was one of Canada's top prospects, winning bronze in parallel giant slalom in the 1999 Junior Worlds, silver in the 2001 Junior Worlds, and in 2002, he made it all the way to Salt Lake City Winter Olympics, finishing 24th in men's parallel giant slalom. For most athletes, this would only be the beginning of a dream. But for Ryan, this was the high point of his professional career and the beginning of a very dark downturn. After the Olympics, Ryan moved back to Vancouver and enrolled at Simon Fraser University. He bulked up, got into bodybuilding, and started working as a bouncer. But the steady grind of school and legitimate work didn't have the glamour or payoff he tasted as an elite athlete. According to investigative pieces and court records, Wedding dropped out and turned to real estate, which they suspect was all funded by drugs. He allegedly set up a huge marijuana grow-op at a suburban property called 18 Carat Farms. When police raided it in 2006, they found around 6,800 cannabis plants, a shotgun and ammunition, and roughly $10 million worth of product on the street. Ryan just happened not to be on the property that day, and authorities suspected that he was behind it all, but there wasn't enough evidence to charge him. He slipped away, untouched. After the grow-up, Wedding allegedly moved up the value chain as most drug dealers do. Instead of growing weed, he connected with Iranian and Russian cocaine smugglers, according to later reporting. In 2008, he tried to buy cocaine from what he thought was a contact in the US, but the supplier was actually an undercover federal agent. He was later arrested and convicted in 2010, getting 4 years in a US prison for attempting to purchase cocaine. US prison should have been a wake-up call for Ryan, but instead, he treated it like a networking event. According to US and Canadian authorities, once he was released, he fled to Mexico and reinvented himself as a high-ranking member of the Sinaloa cartel. Although it's unknown how he climbed up the cartel ranks so quickly, it's alleged that he became the architect of a massive pipeline moving cocaine from Colombia through Mexico and into the US and Canada. The US Justice Department claims his organization shipped around 60 tons of cocaine a year, using semi-trucks and logistics operations to move shipments north. To put that into perspective, even if you take a conservative street value, you're talking billions of dollars in annual revenue flowing through a network he allegedly controlled. Once his operations started gaining attraction, he started being compared to Pablo Escobar and El Chapo in press conferences. Authorities say he leveraged relationships with Hells Angels and other organized crime figures to distribute cocaine across Canada. By 2023, investigators say Wedding's empire wasn't just about drugs, it was about violence and control. A US federal indictment that was unsealed in 2024 accuses him of leading a transnational organized crime group tied to multiple murders. As part of Operation Giant Slalom, authorities charged 16 defendants with bulk cocaine shipments to Canada, at least 3 murders and 1 attempted murder, and the operation of a continuing criminal enterprise. The named victims in the court filings include Jagtar and Harbhajan Sidhu, a married couple murdered in November 2023, and Mohammed Zafar, killed in May 2024, allegedly on Wedding's orders. One associate, described as Ryan's second-in-command, was arrested in Mexico and extradited to the United States. But Ryan himself slipped away and vanished deeper into cartel territory. On March 6, 2025, the FBI added him to the 10 most wanted fugitives list, originally posting a $10 million reward for information leading to his arrest, which is already one of the largest bounties on any fugitive at the time. But the story didn't stop there. In January of 2025, a man named Jonathan Garcia, a key witness expected to testify against Ryan, was shot dead at a restaurant in Medellín, Colombia. A month later, on November 19, 2025, US authorities unsealed new charges. They alleged that Ryan orchestrated the murder of Acebo Garcia to stop him from ever talking. According to these new court documents and press statements, Ryan allegedly used a Canadian site called The Dirty News to post the witness's photo and information, effectively crowdsourcing the hit. A Canadian defense lawyer by the name of Deepak Paradkar is accused of advising Ryan to have the witness murdered to block the case.
Has known Paradkar for decades. He says he already had a colorful past as a defense lawyer before any of this.
Online, he named himself cocaine lawyer.
In response to the Medellín killing, the reward for his capture was raised from $10 million to $15 million, making him one of the most expensive fugitives on Earth. So some of you might be wondering, how much is Ryan actually worth? Here's what we can say based on public information. US authorities and investigative journalists estimate his organization may have moved tens of tons of cocaine per year, with some reporting that his potential annual revenue was over $1 billion. Realistically, if even a fraction of the alleged billion-dollar revenue stuck to him, you're talking tens to low hundreds of millions of dollars. What we do know for sure is the US government thinks he's dangerous enough and powerful enough to justify a $15 million reward. As of late 2025, Ryan Wedding is still a fugitive. He faces charges including conspiracy to distribute and export controlled substances, running a continuing criminal enterprise, multiple counts of murder and attempted murder, witness tampering, and money laundering. The FBI, DEA, and Justice Department have made it clear they want him caught, extradited, and tried in the United States. Ryan Wedding's life is almost like a cliche about power and corruption. A kid who was raised in the best environment to become a professional athlete, to then walk away from it all and choose a faster, darker, and more profitable lifestyle. Maybe one day we'll see him in a courtroom and finally get the full story of how an Olympic snowboarder turned into El Jefe. Thanks for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more El Tamim.